The Class 456 was a two-car electric multiple unit that ran commuter services on the third rail lines out of South London, and 24 examples of this design were built by British Rail Engineering Limited in the early 1990s. Although the real things were all scrapped in 2022, despite their replacements, the Class 701s, still not being ready for passenger service at the time, we can still potter about with the 456 in Train Simulator. Here are my 2 cents on the Class 456 EMU pack, made by Armstrong Powerhouse and Waggonz. I started work on this review in October 2023, but for various reasons, it was put on hold for 8 months. This pack is hardly a spring chicken, as it was released way back in June 2015. It's still available to purchase on AP's website, but it currently costs £17, or $35.28 NZD, at full price. That is very close to the absolute limits of what I'm prepared to pay for a TS Classic add-on, but even then, I still think the 456 pack is borderline overpriced. Here's the AP/Waggonz version alongside the default 456 that comes with Dovetail Games' South London network route, and of course, the AP/Waggonz version absolutely blasted it out of the water. In my opinion, the DTG model looks and sounds awful, not helped by the inclusion of only one livery, that being Southern. On the other hand, the AP/Waggonz version has a good variety of liveries along with much better sounds and modelling, although I think the horn was reused from the Class 321. The 456 is pretty much just a two-car third rail version of the 321, albeit with a completely different front end, and I suspect that the 456's design changes were done to make the unit compatible with the Class 455. You get 9 liveries with the AP/Waggonz Class 456 pack, and said liveries are as follows: Network Southeast, NSE Faded and Unbranded, Connex South Central, Connex Unbranded, Southern, Southern Unbranded, Southern CCTV, Southern White, and Southwest Trains. These liveries cover almost the entire history of this class, ranging from their introduction in 1991 to their refurbishment for Southwest Trains in 2014. My personal favourite of the bunch is Connex, and 456024 Sir Cosmo Bonser was the only example of her class to ever carry that livery in real life. It goes well with backdated Train Sim's freeware West Croydon to Wimbledon route, as does the unbranded Network Southeast livery. 456006 was the first unit in this class to be refurbished for Southern, with the work taking place at Wolverton in 2006. After a brief period running in a plain white livery, she received this one-off advertising livery, and retained said livery until her transfer to Southwest Trains. If memory serves me right, AP weren't originally going to include the Southwest Trains livery because, at the time when this pack was made, there were no suitable routes for that livery. But they ended up adding it anyway at the request of the community. These days, we have at least one suitable route for this unit, namely the extended Portsmouth Direct line that continues past Woking and goes all the way to London Waterloo. And as you can see from this footage, Dovetail also included the Hampton Court branch. The 456s were refurbished a second time after joining the SWT fleet, complete with LED headlights, new seating, and the removal of jumper cable covers on the cab ends. If we compare the Southern and SWT liveries, we can see that the different interiors and cab fronts are accurately modelled in-game. Notably, the SWT variant has a different sound for the guard's buzzer, which sounds a lot more modern than the Southern version. Originally, these units were equipped with a toilet in the trailer coach, but this was removed during the mid-2000s refurbishment. On the Southern and SWT variants, you can see that the slightly smaller window, where the toilet used to be, is still in place. You've also got proper underframe detail differences between the two coaches. Only one of these coaches is actually powered, while the other is just a trailer car. It was a common practice for these older British EMUs, not just the BREL Mark III derived units, to only have one powered coach in the entire unit. The Class 325 is one such example. Here's a demonstration of what the Class 456 sounds like when she pulls away from a station. As I am not an expert on the Mark III derived units, I will invite more knowledgeable people to comment below and to tell us how accurate or inaccurate these sounds are. The power briefly cuts out at 27 miles per hour, as that's where the EE507 traction motors change from series to parallel. As for functionality, the 456 has a decent amount of it, but one thing that doesn't work is the radio module. At least I think it's meant to be a radio module. Besides the basic throttle, reverser and Westcode 3-step brakes, things that do work include, but are not limited to, the AWS self-test sequence, driver reminder appliance, which is used to make sure you don't accidentally apply power if you're standing at a red signal, player-changeable destination displays, interior lights, cab-side windows, and driver-only operation. DOO is activated by the door key switch on the right-hand side of the cab, and further details on this unit's features can be found in the manual. Instead of keypads and dot matrix displays, the Network Southeast, Connex, and Southern White variants have a destination blind controlled by the F7 and F8 keys. When you're running in guard operation, the doors will automatically close at least 35 seconds after you open them, just like most passenger stock in the game. Then you'll hear the guard buzz twice, and the driver needs to reply by buzzing back twice before they can set the train in motion. In driver-only operation, you'll need to press the R key to close the doors a minimum of 35 seconds after opening them, but there are no visual alarms on the 456 to remind you when it's time to close the doors. Newer AP packs, such as the Class 318 electric multiple unit, do have the visual alarms, and I could have sworn that the Class 321 had them too, even though AP's 321 pack is older than their 456. In real life, the 456s were often used in tandem with Class 455s to form 10-car consists. Frankly, I don't understand why SWT, and later South Western Railway, were/are so insistent on making a so-called 10-car railway. Wouldn't it make more sense to run longer 12-car trains for as much capacity as possible? As you can see, we've also got the Class 455 in TS Classic, complete with AP's enhancement packs to boot, but for whatever reason, the enhancement pack is split into two volumes. In my opinion, these packs are not very good, due to A. the trailer coach that was obviously reused from the Class 315 in lieu of a Class 508 to create an imitation 455/7, B. the use of the refurbished Southern cab model across every single variant, which isn't realistic in the slightest, C. the unit's lack of proper compatibility with the 456, although you can couple the units together in Scenario Editor. And D, no changes to the underframe detail on the units that, in real life, are now equipped with Foslow AC traction equipment. Besides the weird issues you get when you try to run her in tandem with the 455, as demonstrated by Yowie in his 455 Enhancement Pack reviews, the 456 has got other problems too. For starters, there's no auto-numbering in the Scenario Editor, and a 2-car set always spawns with a different unit number for each coach, unless it's the Southern CCTV or Connex liveries. On more recent AP packs, such as the Class 319, you can just click on one coach and change the unit number there, after which all coaches in the unit will show their correct numbers. Normally, you'd be able to press the 5 key to go to the passenger view, but for some reason, the 456 doesn't have a passenger view. Come to think of it, not many AP products actually have this feature. The Class 456 pack also includes 5 scenarios for the South London network route, recreating various services and time periods with authentic rolling stock from the respective eras. One scenario is set in 1999, another in 2004, and the rest in 2013. But these scenarios require an awful lot of other add-ons, most of which are expensive AP products, and they can be very laggy and resource intensive due to the high number of AI trains, although this is necessary for a realistic London area rail scene. One of those scenarios involves a run on the stopping service from London Bridge to London Victoria via Denmark Hill, with which the 456s were synonymous for many years. The scenario is set in 2004, long before the service was discontinued and replaced by a London Overground service in 2012. The current South London Line service uses Class 378 EMUs and runs from Highbury and Islington or Dalston Junction to Clapham Junction, along with the rare Parliamentary service to Battersea Park. The combined cost of all the required add-ons for the 456's scenarios, including the base requirements for the 171, 375, 450, 455 and 465 enhancement packs, is an alarming £372.25, or $773.13 NZD at full price, as if the 456 pack on its own wasn't expensive enough. The good thing is that you don't absolutely need those add-ons if you don't want to run the included scenarios. Instead, you could set up a less intensive standard or even free roam scenario if that's what you prefer. Although the Class 456 is not much of a looker, I still like this unit, and I can easily recommend this add-on from Armstrong Powerhouse, preferably with a discount. The accurate detail differences between the unrefurbished and refurbished variants, along with the good sounds and physics, makes for a very pleasant driving experience.